The woods are lovely, dark and deep. But I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep. Two roads diverged in a wood and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Home is the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. Nothing can make injustice just but mercy. Half the world is composed of people who have something to say and can't, and the other half who have nothing to say and keep on saying it. Freedom lies in being bold. What we live by, we die by. The brain is a wonderful organ. It starts working the moment you get up in the morning and does not stop until you get into the office. Love is an irresistible desire to be irresistibly desired. A mother takes 20 years to make a man of her boy, and another woman makes a fool of him in 20 minutes. A diplomat is a man who always remembers a woman's birthday but never remembers her age. I never dared to be radical when young for fear it would make me conservative when old. I always entertain great hopes. You can't get too much winter in the winter. A poem begins as a lump in the throat, a sense of wrong, a homesickness, a lovesickness. The world is full of willing people, some willing to work, the rest willing to let them. Thinking isn't agreeing or disagreeing. That's voting. And were an epitaph to be my story, I'd have a short one ready for my own. I would have written of me on my stone. I had a lover's quarrel with the world. The greatest thing in family life is to take a hint when a hint is intended and not to take a hint when a hint isn't intended. To be a poet is a condition, not a profession. A civilized society is one which tolerates eccentricity to the point of doubtful sanity. I hold it to be the inalienable right of anybody to go to hell in his own way. The only certain freedoms in departure. Education is hanging around until you've caught on. There never was any heart truly great and generous that was not also tender and compassionate. Writing free verse is like playing tennis with the net down. Poetry is a way of taking life by the throat. The reason why worry kills more people than work is that more people worry than work. It's a funny thing that when a man hasn't anything on earth to worry about, he goes off and gets married. Two such as you with such a master speed cannot be parted nor be swept away from one another once you are agreed that life is only life forevermore, together wing to wing and oar to oar. Most of the change we think we see in life is due to truths being in and out of favor. In 3 words I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Poetry is when an emotion has found its thought and the thought has found words. The best way out is always through. By working faithfully 8 hours a day, you may eventually get to be boss and work 12 hours a day. The only way round is through. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. A bank is a place where they lend you an umbrella in fair weather and ask for it back when it begins to rain. Forgive, O Lord, my little jokes on thee, and I'll forgive thy great big joke on me. Forgive me my nonsense, as I also forgive the nonsense of those that think they talk sense. A liberal is a man too broad-minded to take his own side in a quarrel. The figure a poem makes. It begins in delight and ends in wisdom. In a clarification of life. Not necessarily a great clarification, such as sects and cults are founded on, but in a momentary stay against confusion. A jury consists of 12 persons chosen to decide who has the better lawyer. We dance round in a ring and suppose, but the secret sits in the middle and knows. My sorrow, when she's here with me, thinks these dark days of autumn rain are beautiful as days can be. She loves the bare, the withered tree. She walks the sodden pasture lane. I have never started a poem yet whose end I knew. Writing a poem is discovering. A poem begins in delight and ends in wisdom. There are two kinds of teachers. The kind that fill you with so much quail shot that you can't move, and the kind that just gives you a little prod behind and you jump to the skies. I'm not confused. I'm just well mixed. If society fits you comfortably enough, you call it freedom. No tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. No surprise in the writer, no surprise in the reader. Poetry is what gets lost in translation. You don't have to deserve your mother's love. You have to deserve your father's. No memory of having starred atones for later disregard, or keeps the end from being hard. A successful lawsuit is the one worn by a policeman. The middle of the road is where the white line is, and that's the worst place to drive. Education doesn't change life much. It just lifts trouble to a higher plane of regard. Being the boss anywhere is lonely. Being a female boss in a world of mostly men is especially so. You have freedom when you're easy in your harness.